Yes.
That's how I feel right now. No words needed. Just congratulations to Team India. Congratulations to my fans. Congratulations to all of us. Thank you, Bharat Army, for letting us share the joy of today. Day 5 at Lords, the home of cricket. We came to their home and we gave them a little chaped in their own house. There you go. That's what we did. We came into their house, repainted, changed the furniture, did what we want in the home of cricket. We treated the home like it was our home. Ah, listen, what drama, what theatre, what a day. That's it. That's what it's all about. India have won the second test at Lords. Words I didn't think I'd be saying it. In the end, you can see a win of 151 runs in the end. England were in the lead at the start of the day. They were the favourites. It all turned around. I just heard DK say in the commentary, the will to win outweighed the fear of losing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what India did. I thought that was a nice line.
Yeah.
I know you've all got lots to say. Let's just start with you at the top. Sanchit, top of the charts. How are you feeling right now? What did it take for our boys to win?
Well, to be honest, it will be difficult for me to string in words which might make sense because I'm over the moon with the victory. I mean, yes, at the start of the day, things were looking pretty bleak, especially after Pant got out, and
Yeah.
we were already looking downwards toward yet another painful loss. But that was a miraculous partnership by two of our prime batsmen, I must say, with the kind of the way they were batting, Shami and Bumrah. They
Yeah.
actually set the tone for the day, and boy, it was really lovely to see all the English players rattled up by our tailenders. I mean, that's what you love to see, a fiery encounter in Test cricket, and we were actually exposed to one of the best days of Test cricket I could ever have seen in my last 22 years. I mean, 2021 has already given us lots of great games,
Yeah.
not just Indian games, even the one yesterday about with West Indies and
West Indies,
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
And cricket is certainly on an upward rise, especially Test cricket. So it was a joyous feeling to be a part of this wonderful victory.
Oh man, I got goosebumps
Yeah.
listening to it. No, it's true because there is so much emotion, and you're right. There is so much going on around cricket in general. It's an exciting time, and look, let's not. We said this from the start. Joe Root and people like Ollie Robinson, they played phenomenally well, but it just wasn't enough today. We
Yeah.
spoke a lot in the morning about what was required, what was needed.
Yeah.
What happened, Gurkrit? Actually, I think do we take this moment, Gurkrit, to say well done, Virat Kohli. You know what you're doing. You know how to select. You know where you're putting people. So let's not doubt anymore. The guys know what they're doing. Let's trust in our boys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that this has turned into a win because had India not won this game, a lot of attention would have gone to that drop catch without realizing that we wouldn't have not won because of that drop catch. We would have probably won because what happened on either side of that drop catch was far more important because these things happen as a part of the game. Sometimes we like I have seen so many times people talk of Champions Trophy 2017 and just reduce that whole game to the Bumrah no ball, which is not the case because India lost by 180 runs. India really did bowl well that day. Jasprit Bumrah himself didn't bowl that way. He had given runs at 7.5 runs in over. So sometimes you have this habit of clinging on to one odd thing and not realizing that the reason why we were in this position was that because our bowling did very well. And I have to say one thing that a lot of talk over the last 5 days was about Ravichandran Ashwin being missed out, and I still think that he should have played, and I'd hope that India somehow find a way to play him. But if you look at Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah, they said you're missing Ravichandran Ashwin. We'll give you a bit of Ravichandran Ashwin ourselves. I
Yeah.
think I think that ball to Robinson is probably Jasprit Bumrah's best ball in his Test career. Before this, my favorite one was the one to Sean Marsh in Melbourne. But the smarts to come around the wicket, and it was such a brilliant setup that I really can't put it in words because the field set, everything was just about the short ball coming in, the short ball coming in,
Yeah.
and he bowled 3 or 4 short balls at 140 plus. So there was no way. Forget Robinson. I don't think if there would have been any other batsman, he would have been able to realize that okay, a slower one is coming, and just to land it perfectly as well. Because had it been a little more floaty or been around the off stump, it wouldn't have beaten Robinson. He would probably driven it. So just the execution of that idea, just brilliant. I mean, a lot of people talk about sometimes T20 is spoiling Test match cricket, and T20 is bringing a lot of harm to the longer format of the game. Well, bowling slower balls like these is a byproduct of playing so much of T20 cricket. So I
Mm.
think this Test match is also, even this test, and said this before as well. Before after Gaba, that the reason why Rishabh Pant could do what he did on Gaba fifth day was because he's played a lot of T20s. So sometimes the amount of shit that we give to T20 format
Exactly.
on moments like these, we need to appreciate it, that it has also added another dimension to Test match cricket. Sanchit mentioned how this year we have had a lot of close games. You
Yeah.
look at Kyle Myers also chasing 395. It is also again a byproduct of a lot of T20 cricket. So while it might do some harm to defensive techniques, I think it does a lot more good than harm what we can imagine.
It didn't feel like Test cricket though. It felt like it had the thrill and the excitement and the pace and also the intensity and the pressure and the feistiness. There was quite a bit of feistiness. Let's talk about that rivalry there, Kunal and Sanika, because Ollie Robinson, I know he got a bit of grief. There was players squaring up to each
Yeah.
other, eyeballing each other. I love the slow-mo replays as they walk past each other and they're just like, no one's going to break their eyes. By the way, talking of eyeballs, I don't know how much wider Siraj's eyes can go.
Yeah.
After he takes a wicket, they're like that big. They're like, ah. He's like, come on, come on. I love that. And I'm there with him. But a lot of rivalry, a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, and it's a super exciting day, Kunal.
Absolutely. I think I'm just like Sanchit, I'm out of words right now. And very well said by Gulkir. The setup was really brilliant. I mean, no one would have expected a slow ball at that moment. Even the commentators mentioned the same thing. It was very, very nicely set up. So I don't know if the credit goes to Bumrah, the captain, or the management itself. It was probably a well thought of strategy. Even I like the way they declared after coming to bat for a couple of deliveries. That was also brilliant. I think it was, to keep them out of the mental. एक रहता है ना, there's a preparation. Like suddenly it's a switch, run back, switch, and come to it just for 10 balls. So it was more. It was like a practical joke on them. Ball for 10 balls and then suddenly bam, we declare it. So I think that all worked out well. Even I like the way you just mentioned how they were constantly giving those glares and all. Every new batsman stepping in, Virat and everyone used to, some or the other player used to say something or the other while they was stepping in. That also, gets them a little bit bogged down. It adds up to the pressure as well. And the fans, I mean, how can we miss out on all the Bharat Army people chanting and shouting and making it like a one kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end, when only 9 overs were left and there was no wicket for
Yeah.
almost 12 over something,
Yeah.
and I was like, now it's done, now it's a draw. But then Robinson got out, and I was like, abhi to hopes hai.
Yeah. Butler was very crucial.
Yeah.
I mean, Butler got out. So, somewhere as a IPL T20 fans, they thoda tha ki suddenly Butler might just forget. It's test, start hitting like Maxwell, and then oh my god, that shouldn't happen. So then, but luckily nothing of that sort happened.
I have something to say, and I'm not sure if many would agree to this, but Joe Root deserves a lot of criticism for what happened today. Not because he got out, but I thought Jasprit Bumrah averages 4 in Test match cricket. The whole, like, if you would just bowl to him properly on the stumps, I think Bumrah and Shami wouldn't have been able to add those 90 runs. I think what England did wrong completely was they got their egos to get the better of their plans. Okay, and not only they got not only that affected them in the match, but they risked Mark Wood, to probably massage the ego of someone like a James Anderson to come and keep bowling short balls when. Had they just stuck to the plans to bowling straight to Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami, India wouldn't have been able to set a target of 270. I think they even if Bumrah and Shami would have batted well, they would have only been able to add maybe 20-30 runs, but 50 runs extra were added purely because of England wanting to give Jasprit Bumrah that short ball treatment.
Yeah.
This was very similar. And I think their partnership was was of 100 balls. I think 89-run partnership of 100 odd balls. I don't think 15 deliveries in that 100 balls were hitting the stumps. That is how poor they were with the ball, because they wanted their egos to, because they probably wanted to massage the egos after, how Bumrah
They
had
treated
bowled
that.
all those short deliveries to Anderson. And I think that is where they completely lost the plot. They realized that runs were being added. They realized that overs were getting reduced for them to, have a chaseable score. And from there on, they were completely on the back foot. And it is very similar to something what had happened to India back in 2014, when they just wanted to bowl short to Mitchell Johnson in Gabba, just because the plan to bowl short had worked in Lords. So I think this is where Joe Root deserves a lot of criticism. He had three or four fielders on the boundary for Bumrah and Shami. These guys don't even have an average of 10. So he
Yeah.
was basically allowing them to take all those singles, rotate, strike, and then remove all the pressure that was there. India had no business winning this Test match once Rishabh Pant was dismissed in the
Yeah.
first half hour. So Joe Root deserves a lot of criticism for his captaincy. He's batted like a dream, but his captaincy has been absolutely all over the place, especially today.
But then let's call it what it is, and you tell me what you think of this, Sanchit. Then we won fair and square. They tried a game plan, their game plan didn't work. Right? It's not that Joe Root, we know, is playing phenomenally well. He's as a player, he's on form. So if he's taken a strategy because he thinks, aha, this is the way, then guess what? Your strategy didn't work, and India won it. That for me, that proves it, that they didn't know what to do. Otherwise, they would have done it, Sanchit.
Well, definitely, but I also agree with what Gurkirat rightly said. I also feel that Joe Root was slightly below par in terms of his captaincy. To be honest, I mean, there was one famous quote by Harsha Bogle while commentating. He said that when both of them were batting, both Shami and Bumrah, it was almost like prime Gary Sobers and one more player he named were batting. So that actually sums it up of how they treated both Bumrah and Shami when they were at the crease. So lots of talks will be about Joe Root, the captain. Unfortunately, just because he's not someone like Virat Kohli, he won't get enough criticism on social media. But that's the way it is. But I really agree with what Gurkirat said about Root's captaincy. He's a phenomenal batsman, and I do believe that it's not just a one-off thing, but he has also done that timeless again. We have seen Joe Root being over defensive in such times, even in the Ashes, and even when they were looking to chase down a target against New Zealand just a couple of months ago. So
Yeah.
being overly defensive is one of the criticism that Joe Root really faces often. So it's really not looking good for him captaincy wise, but batting wise is
And
actually
I
yeah.
want to add this, why it was an even worse tactic. So we already know that Jofra Archer is out for
Yeah.
a year. Mark Wood had sustained an injury yesterday, and Mark Wood is very important if you look, from the world, from the plans in terms of the World T20, right? Because he's the only one who can now bowl at 150 plus since Jofra is injured. So they actually, also risked a further injury to someone like Mark Wood, who could, you know if things don't work out, he could also be out of the World T20. I think as an English cricket fan, I would be so angry at what happened in the first session today,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it didn't make any cricketing sense at all. It just didn't make any cricketing sense at all.
Yeah, but good. It's sometimes cricket doesn't make sense, and we're at the receiving end of the nonsense. But now we're at the benefit. I'm like, can we remember today's a happy day? I like it. No, you're right. Alexi, you're very right to turn the lights kind of so we can analyze why we won, and
Yeah.
also how easily it could have been the other way. How easy it could have been declared a draw, or things going the other way. I think, if you don't mind, Kunal and Tanika, take me back to Shami and Bumrah coming
Yeah.
into bat.
Yeah.
Should we stop underestimating our tail? What thoughts are going through your mind after seeing what you saw today?
After seeing their batting, I was like, ये bowler है या batsman है?
Seriously.
I got confused.
There are some people commenting over here that they've already switched the batting order. They've got these people to bat in place of Rahane and Pujara. I'm not sure why, but then it's kind of weird to see that. But then see, I feel it's still one thing. Honestly speaking, they did well today. That is really great. But then even in the next match, again, we would be in a question mark whether they'll bat or not. That's something, there has to be some reliability factor over there. But then today, when they actually had to step up, they did step up, and that's really, really important. And one thing which I like is, irrespective of the fact that Virat Kohli is not in his prime form, irrespective of the fact that Pujara and Rahane also are not in the best form, we are still winning an overseas test match. That speaks that it is kind of the opposite of what used to happen in World Cups. I mean, in World Cup, our best players used to perform, and I won't call it below par, but then the par players, someone like who are not really the big guns, their poor performance used to get overshadowed. And we used to just win by Rohit. Like the openers used to bat really well. The best bowlers to pick wickets. Over here, it's the other way around. I mean, the best players, the ones who सबका ध्यान उन पर ही है, these are the ones who are not really performing, and other players are really stepping up and doing the game. I think that's really important going forward into this World Test Championship as well.
Just adding to what Kunal said over here about Pujara and Rahane and Kohli not being at their very best. If you look back at the majority of the conversation that happened yesterday, many people felt that Pujara and Rahane specifically Pujara, have batted in a way to ensure that India cannot win this test match. And how silly does it sound 24 hours after? So, and this is one point that I've been crying about for probably the last 6 months. Intent in Test cricket is very different from intent in T20s. Intent in Test cricket could very well mean to be staying at the crease and ensuring that you're batting time, right? And another thing which I want to discuss is that what India did very well today in this game was that they ensured they reached a position where they couldn't have lost the game, which probably didn't happen in the World Test Championship final. And going into the final day in the World Test Championship, we were in a worse position than what we were here, but still we ensured that okay, we get into a position where we can't lose. But all the discussion that was happening before that final on the during the World Test Championship final was that okay, how do we win this? How do we win this? So there's a very, regardless of India winning the game, there's another very important lesson that is there for the Indian cricket fans, even the experts, that a draw can be a very acceptable result in test matches. I think even if the match would have been drawn, all of us would have taken it with both hands, considering how our situation was going into day 5, right? So that is where I think as fans we also need to be pragmatic of it. It's a good thing that had this even been a draw, say 7 or 8 down, it would have still been a very good performance from the Indian team, and it would have spoken about the depth of the Indian team, that from a point they would have almost lost the test match, that they came this far. And the conversation shouldn't have been about the Kohli drop catch, the Jadeja no ball, the Rohit drop catch, because these things are a part and parcel of the game. They happen. So this is something that I wanted to draw attention on, that all the time the intent cannot be always about scoring runs. Intent is also there when you have to bat time. And tomorrow yesterday batting time was so important. Had today someone would have played half the balls what probably a Cheteshwar Pujara did, this series would still have been 0-0.
Yeah.
So,
but can we also talk about the spirit? I don't know if you guys saw it, but even when we came out to bat and we had obviously our tail do as well as they did, we were just more fired up. And I know that's the Kohli effect. But you looked at people like Ishant and you looked at Siraj. You can see it. They're like animals. I just think we wanted it more in the end, didn't we, Sanchit?
Definitely. I mean, it was evident from ball 1 when we came on to bat. Though Rishabh Pant actually got out, but the way when the tail enders came on to bat, and with the way they were actually batting, they were not afraid about what kind of threats they were getting from all the social media players, and even Stuart Broad on Twitter also, like they are waiting for Bumrah to come on to bat when Anderson is bowling. So this is actually really. This feels really good as an Indian fan, actually, when you look back at all those years when we used to see these teams bullying us all the time when we toured overseas. I think this is such a fascinating side, and not just this series, even the Australian tours that we had in 2018 and 2020. I think this feels really good. I mean, the intent that we showed with the bat ball, and even on the field, I mean, that was superb. I mean, it was looking like they wanted a wicket every single ball. Even after the dropped catches, it didn't look like the heads were down. I mean, even the next ball they bowled it with the same intent, and that is the change I really love to see in this team. Though it didn't happen earlier, it didn't used to happen earlier in times, but it is certainly a big one. And this victory will actually be amongst the very best. I know that Gabba 2021. It is to be honest, it is very harsh to compare India's most victory. I mean, at the moment, many would say that this is the one because of recency bias, but I would just cherish this as one of the best victories I will ever see. As an Indian cricket fan, over all the last 22 years I have been living in this world. So really a
And
great.
it's at Lords. And it's at Lords against the English. The day after Independence Day. It's like, there's so many elements to this story. It's such and actually talking to this, I felt like in this whole kahani of India versus England. There were so many other plots, like you say, players being left out. It was a full drama of story. Let me just bring in some of our wonderful listeners who are viewers who are watching around the world right now. Hi to Vivek, hi to Nitish, of course, who says Siraj is the man. We're going to come and talk about Siraj tonight. Ishant is handing his legacy to a future great. I thought Siraj was incredible. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Hi to Vonatha, of course. Hi to Yata.
Positivity.
But the positivity won in the end. Dilip saying there was banter on the pitch, which fired up the Indian team. I agree. Great to see the Lions on the pitch as well. Hi to Paradox of Virat Kohli and the rise of the Indian team. Unbelievable, brilliant.
Tommy, two things. Who would have imagined that India would take a 1-0 lead in a series in England after 2 test matches without a single wicket falling to spinners? That is one unbelievable thing. 2, who would have thought that Sam Curran will have a king pair in a test match? 0 for 1 in both innings.
It feels really good.
0 for 1 in both innings. It's so unbelievable on a few levels that I can't explain it. Like Sam Curran being who was the man of the series for England back in 2018, and he was such a thorn in India's neck whenever they actually lost 2 test matches to Sam Curran back in 2018. The one in Southampton and the one in Edgbaston. And today, in both innings, today as well as 2 days ago when he just come out to bat, where England could have actually taken a 50, 60, 70, or maybe even a 70-run lead, because Joe Root didn't look like getting out at all, and he was out for first ball. So I think it's a win to savor even if you look at these small subplots. Sam Curran, getting out for a king pair. Mohammad Shami of all people, almost top scoring for India in the second innings. KL Rahul, coming back and scoring his second 100 in England, and also registering his third 50-plus score in England in 4 innings. Rohit Sharma has also not been opening very recently, and this has happened without the contribution of Virat Kohli, and when India have left out their best spinner. Imagine. So I think it becomes very unbelievable, and speaks a lot more about India's depth, that despite all these things missing and things not working out, that they've still managed to win this test match. It is probably it reminded me of Kolkata 2010 when Harbhajan Singh had taken the wicket of Morne Morkel with 10 balls to go, but that that win was at home against, and that team had a much better batting lineup in much more batting friendly conditions. But this is just incredible in whichever way you look at it.
I know we would have all given anything we could have to have been there today. And I know, Sanchit, it was a dream of yours. I'm sorry you weren't there today, but your Bharat Army brothers and sisters were. This is them just a few minutes ago when play ended and India won against England at Lord's. Over to the BA boys.
What a win! What an absolutely amazing win! Day 5, we did it the last hour, we left the 9 overs left. Come on! Come on! Amish, how amazing was that win?
Well, it was brilliant, man. Words don't describe. Lords, everything just went perfectly today, man. It couldn't have gone better.
Yeah. Akshay, history, we saw history. How was that?
Listen, we were this close, we were running out of belief, but we had Mohammed Siraj, did the business, Ollie Robinson, Joss Butler broke that partnership, we won at Lord's, come on!
Serge, for you, how amazing was that last? It was really tense, wasn't it, last hour?
I'm out of words, honestly. It's one of the best moments there I could ask for. It was really tense, but India pulled it through us there.
What was that feeling like at the end?
After 5 days, we absolutely deserved it. My nerves are shredded, my voice is gone. Let's go to Leeds, let's make it 2-0.
Listen, this man, it's his birthday today. When we came here, we were thinking about how do we save this match, right? Well, how do we save this match? We won out of adversity. How do you feel right now, Drew?
It has to be the best birthday present ever. We supported and we did the business.
Yeah,
That's what
listen.
it is.
So this is Bharat Army signing out of 5 amazing days. India 1-0!
Oh, Drew, what a birthday present. Oh my, imagine today is your birthday.
Yeah.
Wow. Look, you can tell the guys' voices have gone, and you could hear them all throughout when I was watching on the program. You can hear the Bharat Army voice. I can hear the songs, hear the chants. It makes a difference. I saw Virat kind of getting the crowd going a couple of times as well. So a historic win. Listen, you heard Akshay touch on Siraj there. Mohammad Siraj. Let's just spend a moment, if you don't mind. Kunal and Sanika, tell me what you saw in his bowling and in his performance. Just a phenomenal player.
Absolutely. I think Siraj, his journey has been really great over the years. I mean, I always mention the fact that someone like Siraj and Rishabh used to always face the front of the audience. Okay, what are these people doing? Why are these in the playing 11? And even we were part of it. I mean, we were also in a question mark 2 or 3 years back as to what are these players doing. And now when we look at the success, their career has gone just up. And one thing which I really like about Virat Kohli's captaincy is a certain players really excel under him, especially the ones who are overly, expressive. So I really feel at times someone like Srishant would have excelled a lot more under Virat Kohli. I mean, he just gets those players, so some captains, someone like Dhoni, someone like Dravid, these people will just tame them down, calm them down, and get their best performance out. But then there are certain players like Srishant, there's Rabada as well. I feel if these players get a captain like Virat Kohli who gets their aggression multiplied, I think their performance increases and improves a lot. Similarly, Siraj has been one of those players, and he's done really well. 3 wickets or 4 wickets?
4 wickets.
I just lost count. So many wickets falling in a single day. I lost count. I'm sorry. So yeah, 4 wickets over there. But then, really, really well bowled by Siraj, and I like the way he is performing. And I think he made a Test debut in Australia, and wahan se lekar with now he's done well in England at Lords as well. So a long way, a great career ahead. I love the way he took the last wicket and just ran to the stumps. That's mine. He just ran, bowled the stumps up, uprooted and ran away.
I'm taking this and I'm going home. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Good, Chris. I know you touched on Siraj a little bit earlier on, but again, a phenomenal talent and wonderful to see. Really, him stepping up when the pressure was on in the most intense way.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at how he has progressed, if you look at innings by innings, I'd mentioned in the first test how he was probably wavered. If you look at the first innings, how he bowled, he had given first innings of the first test, he had given runs at 4 runs per over. In his 12 overs, and I had mentioned, and I had also been critical of him, that he probably bowled a few more loose deliveries than what you would have liked from a third seamer or a third pacer, because Shardul was playing as an all-rounder. But since that innings, he's only improved. You look at how he bowled in the second innings at Trent Bridge. He was bowling much better than what he had done in the first innings. Today also, he was much more disciplined, and he knew the angles to bowl. Look at the wickets of Moeen Ali and Sam Curran. They were very identical to how Rishabh Pant had been dismissed, because when you've just come in as a left-hander, that line, that fourth stump line, where you're not sure if you want to play at it or leave at it, is always the most difficult one to play. And to bowl that one consistently was brilliant to see. And I think Siraj will only get better from here, because if you look at what he's been trying to do versus Joe Root, he's been trying to get him out LBW, but not really bowl the ball leaving away or the ball holding its line a lot. He was bowling a lot of that to Josh Butler as well, but changed it up when he came in the over which he finished off the game, and he bowled a ball which held its line. So I think he's only going to get better and keep mixing it up even more better. He gets a little bit predictable, but I think for someone who's just into his fifth 3 test matches, who's not even played 10 test matches, his rise and improvement has been phenomenal, especially the way he's understanding and maturing. And what Kunal said about Srishant, I feel the same, because a lot of these bowlers, be it Mohammad Shami or Umesh Yadav or Ishant Sharma, it's not that they haven't played under MS Dhoni. Ishant Sharma debuted under Anil Kumble, but he's played probably half of his career under MS Dhoni. And both Shami as well as Umesh Yadav debuted under MS Dhoni, but they're not the same bowlers what they are under Virat Kohli. Not only Srishant, but probably even a Varun Aaron would have been a much better bowler had he played or made his debut under Virat Kohli, because Virat has that what do you call it? Probably the appetite to have pacers. I don't think that any other Indian captain would have been brave enough to leave out Ravichandran Ashwin, because I
Yeah.
remember a time like 2002 where where in Headingley India played both Harbhajan and Anil Kumble, and back in 2007 in Trent Bridge we had Saurav Ganguly taking the new ball and bowling first change. So it tells you how much Indian cricket has come far from the last 15-20 years. So you
Yeah.
know this is the thing, when you want to take these bold calls, if they don't work out, you will get a lot of criticism, which anyway happens with Virat, because of the kind of personality he
Yeah.
is always in your face. But when it works out like nothing else. So
Yeah.
just for this quality alone, I think Virat deserves a lot of credit, because in a country like India, forget India, when you're even a captain of a subcontinent team, the external pressure which comes from the fans and the media is intense.
Yeah.
And to be still be able to hold your own and back your conviction is something which is incredible. And I genuinely think that Virat deserves a lot of credit for it.
And Yathat is calling you Gurkirat Bogle on the message. He goes, man, the way Gurkirat watches it, he's the next Harsha Bogle. You're right. You're an up and coming talent as well. That's what it is. We're nurturing up and coming talent all around here. Okay, just a brilliant day. Sanchit, just tell me, what does this do for Virat Kohli? Let's say we're all this confidence in him now. I know you've been talking about how he's making history as well. But what does this do as we go ahead into Leeds now, as we look ahead into Leeds?
Well, definitely this will do a lot good. First of all, there's one important stat that has just come in, that Virat Kohli actually overtook Clive Lloyd and became the fourth most successful captain in Test cricket history right now, with
Oh,
37 victories in 63 matches, and that is really a huge achievement for Virat Kohli and this Indian team. And as Gurkirat rightly pointed out about how Indian team actually evolved from those 2007 6 7 days to what we are now, while by being overly dependent on the spin duos, to having a wolf pack of fast bowlers leading our attack in the overseas condition. I think this is a beautiful journey for Virat Kohli, and I think this Lord 2021 will actually define the legacy of Virat Kohli as the captain. I mean, if I remember back in 2018, after we had a very poor outing at Lords, losing in just 2 or 3 days. I think that was actually compared to I mean, on social media you get trolled quite a lot, especially after such a loss. But I mean, this Lord's 2021, this is actually going to be remembered for many many years, just because of the way how we fought back into this game. There was a time where even a loss was looking like almost 90 or 95%, but the way we fought back, I think that actually defines this team under Virat Kohli. And that is actually seeing since that Adelaide 2014 innings, where we just lost while going for that target on the last day on a tricky wicket in Adelaide, and that actually showed the promise of what is to come under the captaincy of Virat Kohli. And it is such a sight to watch this team transform into what we are now. Hopefully that we will carry on this win and make sure that we create history by winning a Test series in England, and hopefully we'll be managing to do that for many many years under Kohli. And hopefully the World Test Championship final, which is in 2023, that is also ours. I know that I'm being overly optimistic and overly,
Hey,
but I think
that's okay.
emotions
That's
are
okay.
actually overflowing, and this will feel lot good. I mean, especially after a series win in a month's time. But I'm really going to cherish this victory quite a lot, especially having the 9 day gap that we have. This
Yeah.
victory, this win's highlights will be played almost on all the laptops and mobile phones I have, just to cherish the winning feeling that we had after Siraj took that wicket.
Well, okay. Well, in which case, because you said he's the fourth highest Test winning captain, if we win the next three, does that? No, I think that still puts him in fourth. He's only one behind then to take third place, so he's nearly there. I'm trying to work out if Virat can go higher up on that list, but he's not far off. Second and third place are not far off. Ricky Ponting's on 48. Another 11 Tests, Virat, and then you're there. Okay. Final thing. What did everybody do today that they're going to repeat for the Leeds Test? Because the day started off with you guys, Kunal and Sanika.
Yeah.
Remind everybody what you did this morning.
So we switched up positions in the morning. Yeah.
They sat the other way around, right?
Yeah.
So it was, instead of Kunal, as we're looking at it, Kunal on the left and
Yeah.
Sanika on the right. It was the other way around. That
Yeah.
worked. Okay.
Your
What
cap.
did I do?
Your cap.
I put the cap on. I don't remember the cap on. It's because I haven't shaved today. So I was like, oh, okay. And also, I've got the India top on, not the Bharat Army top. So maybe I need to combine the Bharat Army cap with the India top. That's when the power. I don't know. But everything I ate today, I'm going to eat again. Everything what I woke up, what time I woke up, the workouts, everything. It's all going to be copied. So please, everybody, as you are, we will catch up with you in 9 days' time for the third test in this series of England versus India when we head up north to Leeds. I'm telling you now, Sanika, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I don't know today, okay? But like you said, lots of confidence in the team. And I want to just make my own personal point. For anybody out there who's currently going through their own rubbish in life, right? When you feel down and out, just remember today. Just remember that things can turn around quickly. And with your fighting spirit, with your energy, with your drive, with good people around you, anything is possible. Enjoy the win today. Come on, Team India. Thank you, everybody. And I'll catch you soon. See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.